Just a reminder that you have video on, it's viewable to the public.
Ryan, I've got 9 o'clock. We ready to go?
Yep.
Will we have everybody, or do we want to?
Yeah, Chad, can you do roll call?
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Durham?
Present.
Dr. Ernest?
Present.
Dr. Freitas?
Here.
Mr. Gastineau?
Here.
Mr. Mapes?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Good morning.
Superintendent McCormick?
Here.
Ms. Moat?
Mr. Chairman, are you ready to call the meeting to order?
We are ready. We're taking roll call right now.
And I believe you're up, Ms. Moat. We'll come back. Ms. Rensselaer?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Present.
And Mr. Watts?
Here.
Ms. Moat?
I know that Katie is on here.
Yeah, we do have a quorum, so we can get started, and hopefully she'll chime in at some point.
Okay, with that, we will call the April 15th, 2020 meeting of the State Board of Education together. Is there approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
So ordered. Is there a motion for the minutes from the March 4th, 2020 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
So ordered. Statement of the chair. Few things I'll run through this morning. First, I would like to thank Governor Holcomb. We are in unprecedented times here, and his leadership and the fact he's keeping Hoosiers safe has meant something to all of us. And in our world of education, I certainly appreciate every decision that he makes in conjunction with state board staff and the DOE has put students first. So that's something that I really appreciate. Moving on to state board staff, the work that you guys have done, Brian and company, I am more amazed every single day at the work that you guys get accomplished. And I know sometimes it is thankless, but I wanted to thank you because we do appreciate the work that you put in, and the DOE as well. I mean, going above and beyond. I've had lots of experiences with the DOE, and they've all been absolutely amazing, going truly above and beyond any requests that we have to make sure that schools have what they need to continue to educate students. And again, I know that sometimes we don't always hear good job, and that's nice to hear sometimes, but job well done to everyone at a time that we really, there's no playbook for. So thank you to everyone for that. To parents and students, this has required a lot of flexibility, and teachers, required flexibility and commitment on your part that again is unprecedented. And you have answered the bell on every single call, and I want you to know that we appreciate it, and appreciate the work that you continue to do. The school buildings may be closed, but school is certainly still in session. We do have a couple of congratulations to our fellow board members, to Superintendent Pat Mapes in Perry Township. They received Indiana's Title III Distinguished School District Award which recognizes their commitment to the success of English learners. Job well done, Pat and Perry Township. And
Thanks.
our very own Pat, do you have any comments on that?
I just want to just give a shout out to all of our teachers here in Perry Township Schools. They're the ones that go through the training and make certain we serve a very diverse population here in our school district. So as you said earlier, our teachers have been fantastic here during these last 5-6 weeks. But our people have been doing a great job, and it's nice to be recognized of working with our English learners. So thank you.
Absolutely. And then our very own Kristen Rensler she teaches at Columbia City High School, and she was nominated for the McGregor Teacher of the Year Award. She's also the Indiana nominee for the national level contest. So Kristen, job well done. Do you want to give us a breakdown of what that includes?
Well, I am involved in a program called National History Day, where we have students research topics and create projects. And this award is nationwide, so I'm really honored and excited to be nominated to go against some of the best teachers in the nation. We'll find out in June. But really, it's all due to the hard work of our neighbors down in Indianapolis, the Indiana Historical Society. They do great work on getting teachers involved in the real work of historians, and then we can turn around and get our students involved. So it's a great program, and I'm happy to be a part of it and honored to be the nominee.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
I can't say it enough. Like I've been on this board for a long time, and I love that even in the toughest of times, I love how every decision that we make, everyone puts students first. That's something to be proud of. A few meeting logistics, and I know that we've all done lots of WebExes here lately. But when you are not speaking, if you could please mute your line, that will help. And some others as well. And if you have a comment, you can just turn it on and jump in, or you can type a question in the box, and we'll try to grab that as well. Any other board member comments?
BJ, I don't have a comment. This is Katie Moat, but I did just want to make sure that I was noted as present because my audio wasn't working for roll call.
Yes, we got you. Absolutely. Any board member comments? Okay, seeing none, moving on to consent agenda. We have the IDOE annual 2018-19 virtual charter school reports. The 2020 and 21 average daily membership count dates, common school loan amendment to South Henry School Corporation, and the common school loan policy amendment for COVID-19. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So ordered. Excuse me. New business. We have the freeway accreditation request from South Bend Montessori High School. Brian,
Yes.
are you on this?
Yeah, so this is Brian Murphy. We received this request and I took a look at this as well as working with South Bend Montessori school leader, Dr. Oglesby, who is here to answer questions. Just by way of a quick summary, their request is that they be granted freeway accreditation. And in review of their materials, staff is recommending that they be granted that. There are two main factors that we look at in making a recommendation. The first one is, have they shown a compelling evidence of readiness to begin in the 2021 school year? We believe they have gone above and beyond in that area. They have a facility secured. They have staff ready to go. They have received Drexel funds to develop curriculum and startup. And so In reading through the materials, they have really done a great job of preparation, which is key to obviously a new school. It's preparation, 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 and they've really done a good job with that. The other factor is supports that we look at, and so this will be a school that will be part of the Montessori network, more specifically kind of the sub-network, the Wildflower network, which will provide the non-monetary supports and resources. And then they have the Drexel funds, which provide the monetary resources. So they received, I believe, something to the tune of $140,000 for startup and development costs, and also applied for some additional funds that they will hear on, I think, June 1 as to whether or not they'll receive those. But in terms of the two factors we consider and the quality of the materials they've submitted, we strongly recommend that they be approved for freeway accreditation.
Move to recommend the proposal.
Second. BJ, I've got a couple questions if we can do discussion.
Absolutely. I have a motion and a second. Any questions by board members? Pete?
Dr. Oglesby, I'm a little familiar with Montessori. Just to clarify, is this the first Montessori high school in the state?
It will not be the first Montessori high school in the state. There's Oak Farm Montessori that's out in Avila, Indiana. They started with the 9th grade a couple years ago and are up to 11th grade. They're actually part of the consortium that sparked this project. And so we have access to all their materials and are talking with them as well as we develop the school.
Fantastic. And I know one of the principles is to connect kids to nature. And so what are your plans to allow for that?
There we go. So we have a couple of different plans. So one of the concepts of our school is to use partners in the community for the curriculum. And one of the ones we've been talking extensive with is Prairie Winds Farms. That's just south of town. That already Good Shepherd Montessori School partners with them for some of their curriculum. And so my co-founder who's here is Eileen Mariani. She's going to be leading the science and biology curriculum. So she's working with Prairie Winds to set up there, but also within the city, we're located near where the river is at. So we're planning on giving access to our students through to the river there.
Wonderful. You have a very impressive application, so for congratulations on that. And just a couple of comments to my fellow board members. I'm a little biased here because I've got a couple kids that are in Montessori, and I know we're just approving this or considering this today, but going forward, I'd like for us to kind of revisit the whole concept. First of all, just to kind of break down barriers so we could have more of these types of schools, but then also for other non-Montessori schools, I think there's some lessons we could learn in terms of one of the models there is to meet the child where they are. And I think a lot of times we just assume that kids all learn at the same pace at which they don't. And if, the more we can allow for that everywhere, we'd love to do that. But there is a movie called Inside Montessori that perhaps once things get back to normal here, we could host a screening for the board and any other interested members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions by board members?
Well, I just want to agree with all Pete's comments, but I have one question. Are there any other Montessori high schools in Indiana?
Yeah, so we've got one that's started a couple of years ago at Oak Farm where they're extending their way up. They're up to an 11th grade now. There's also, I believe, a charter school that's down in the New Albany area. Blanking on the name on that one at the moment, but they're fairly rare.
Well, congratulations, and I thank you.
Any other questions by board members? Seeing none, roll call, please. Are we ready for roll call?
Sorry about that. I was
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Durham,
Yes.
Dr. Ernest,
Yes.
Dr. Freitas, Dr. Freitas.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gastineau,
Yes.
Mr. Mapes,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Aye.
Superintendent McCormick,
No.
Ms. Moat,
Yes.
Ms. Rentschler,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Watts.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to B, choice waiver, Independence Academy. Brian, can you give us a summary on this one as well?
I'll be handling this one, BJ.
Thank you, sir.
I'll start, since we have two of these in a row, I'll start with just a brief summary of the statute that's relevant here, and then we'll handle each school separately. But the Independence Academy has petitioned the board for a choice scholarship waiver under the relevant choice scholarship statutes. A school that receives a combination of D's or F's in consecutive years is subject to the consequences imposed in that chapter. And the consequences are that the school may not accept new choice scholarship students until the school receives a C or higher in a number of consecutive years. In order to be eligible to receive a waiver, the school must demonstrate that a majority of its students have shown academic improvement in the preceding school year. And once that's done, the board then may decide whether or not the school is going to receive a waiver. So with Independence Academy, I do want to note one thing. The board has unredacted versions of the proposed determination in front of them. However, Independence Academy has an open appeal for their 2018-2019 A through F letter grade. So out of respect for that process, I would ask that board members refrain from citing any specific data points that would allow members of the public to calculate that grade. And I'll do the same. So if I'm speaking somewhat ambiguously about some data points, that's why. So with that, we looked at Independence Academy, and what we have found is that based on a combination of factors, they have satisfied their statutory requirement to show that a majority of students have demonstrated academic improvement, and those are as follows. Year after year, Independence Academy has been able to significantly increase the number of points it's received under Indiana's accountability system, which is an important factor the board has looked at in the past. Using an N size of 0 to recalculate Independence Academy's grades actually demonstrates that Independence Academy has improved their grade. The reason we use an N size of 0 for certain schools in this context is to ensure, one, that small schools such as Independence Academy are able to ensure that all of their students are included in the calculation and they get credit for all of those students. And it also ensures that our analysis is focused on one school year. Under the board's current rule, if a school does not have enough students to meet the N size requirements, we will aggregate backwards and past data will be included in the school's grade. And so in order to ensure that we're excluding that past data for purposes of this statute, we use an N size of 0. So again, under an N size of 0, they have improved their letter grade. And then finally, looking at student growth data provided by the Department of Education, we see that in grades 3 through 8, roughly 72% of students have shown standard or high growth in ELA, and 50% of their students have shown standard or high growth in math for grades 3 through 8. And then at the high school level, grade 10, 100% of their students have demonstrated high growth in ELA, and 100% of their students have demonstrated high growth in mathematics. So again, for those reasons, Independence Academy has met its statutory burden to demonstrate academic improvement in a majority of its students, and it's recommended that the waiver request be granted.
Move to approve recommendation for waiver request.
Second.
Hey, we have a motion and a second. Any questions by board members? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Durham,
Yes.
Dr. Ernest,
Yes.
Dr. Freitas,
Yes.
Mr. Gastineau,
Yes.
Mr. Mapes,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Aye.
Superintendent McCormick,
Yes.
Ms. Moat,
Yes.
Ms. Rentschler,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Watts,
Yes.
The recommendation is adopted and Independence Academy's waiver is approved for the upcoming school year.
Thank you, Chad. I'm assuming you're going to go through Lakeview Christian as well for C.
Yes, I will handle Lakeview as well. So again, similar standards, or the exact same standards apply to the statute to Lakeview Christian School, and what we're looking for is a demonstration that a majority of students have demonstrated academic improvement in order to be eligible for the waiver. Reviewing their data, we see that over the years, Lakeview Christian School has had consistent and impressive improvement in their overall A through F accountability points, and they've improved their score to a 69.1D, so right on the cusp of receiving a C. Using an N size of 0 to gauge the school's performance, we see that the school actually has a grade of a C, which would be enough to eventually take them out of consequences. When we look at student growth in their case, we see that 60% of students in grades 3 through 8 have demonstrated standard or high growth in ELA. 67% of their students in grades 3 through 8 demonstrate standard or high growth in math. Roughly 80% of their students demonstrate standard or high growth in ELA at the high school level, and almost 90% of their students demonstrated standard or high growth in mathematics at the high school level. Based on those factors, the school has met its statutory burden to demonstrate academic improvement in a majority of its students. Thus, the waiver request, the recommendation is that it be granted.
Any questions by board members?
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Durham?
Yes.
Dr. Ernest?
Yes.
Dr. Freitas?
Yes.
Mr. Gastineau?
Yes.
Mr. Mapes?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Superintendent McCormick?
No.
Ms. Moat?
Yes.
Ms. Rentschler?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
The motion is approved and the waiver is granted for the upcoming school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to D, approval of round 2 career ladder grants.
This is Brian Murphy. This comes to us from the committee at SBOE, and just as a quick refresh, these were the funds that were left over from the first round. I think it was around 400,000, maybe a little bit less. And so 3 schools have been approved or recommended for approval. So we would piggyback on that recommendation.
Are there questions by board members?
I do have a question. Brian, is this something I should abstain from since my school district received a grant prior?
This is Chad. You are fine to vote on this. This does not affect your school district.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions by board members?
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Durham?
Yes.
Dr. Ernest?
Yes.
Dr. Freitas?
Yes.
Mr. Gastineau?
Yes.
Mr. Mapes?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Superintendent McCormick?
Yes.
Ms. Moat?
Yes.
Ms. Rentschler?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
And Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Action item approved, and we will notify the schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other board member comments before closing? Again, I do want to thank the teachers and students and administrators who are out there working hard every single day in times that are new to us, but I appreciate your innovation. One thing that I would ask is that if you have creative ways that you are recognizing the class of 2020, if you could share those with us, we can share them out across the state. That would certainly be appreciated. Seeing no other comments, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Stay healthy, folks.